Is it hockey time again already? Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, live with Bailey and Rudo coming to you as the Avs are on the SEGABABA taking on the Florida Panthers. The Avs have won 10 straight. They're an absolute wagon. Their power play is even working. I mean, I guess you have to stack the schedule against them to get a team to try and beat them.
Is that the only way you get them to break?
Maybe.
Is that really it? Is that the key?
I don't even know if that works. They won that Vegas game same-day travel. They've historically been quite good on back-to-backs, so I would not look. They're the betting favorites, despite the situation. So never doubt the Avs, as I'm learning this year, is apparently the mantra. But
Okay, cool.
Cool.
No, I mean you'll take it. The East, in looking at standings, is, as Bednar mentioned last night, it's a gauntlet. There's, I think, 11 points between first and 16th.
Yep.
In the East.
Yep.
And looking at that, like that's insane stuff to think about. But the fact that it is like it, I think somebody posted playoff standings earlier today, and all of the comments are literally like, this could look completely different by the end of the season. And that's the reality of what the East is for everybody coming through. And that doesn't change for a team like the Florida Panthers. They're reigning Stanley Cup champions for a reason. You gotta hope that you saved some of the legs maybe during the first and second period of the Carolina game. You go and push through for the third. You hope that there's some legs left to keep the streak going here.
You might have to dig deep for this one for sure. I would say on the East, forget the end of the season. The standings could look completely different tomorrow with how close that stuff is. It's just, I'm glad. Well, actually, for the Avs, it doesn't really matter. They're just miles ahead of everyone in the standings, no matter how you parse that one out. So you feel pretty okay with Colorado, I think, regardless of the outcome of this game. Of course, you want them to win. You want them to keep the streaks going, all of that good stuff. But it's a bit of a free roll, right? As is any second game of a back-to-back when you win the first one. So I don't think there's a ton of pressure on the Avs to win this one, but how tired do we think this team is actually going to be? It is a road trip, but Carolina to Florida is like, what, an hour plane ride, if that?
Something like that. Yeah, maybe two, depending on, wind and patterns.
Sure.
There's a reason I'm not a meteorologist, but that's, yeah. It's a fairly quick turnaround for them. I mean, of course, you get into the hotel a little late, and you get, maybe into some of those morning routines a little bit more today. But I imagine they're heading into this one with a little more rest than they maybe would be in the Tampa game, which, I know that sounds kind of weird to say with it being that back-to-back type situation, but you saw the most determined version of the Avalanche in the third period last night. And you've got to hope like some of that quick turnaround helps keep some of that momentum, right? And that's off of, a little bit of a break. They didn't get that morning skate in. They had a travel day the day beforehand, and sometimes that can mess with guys a little bit. You have more time, like there's no, formal or former team meetups or anything like that. So you don't have to meet those expectations and things. You can just kind of chill out, process the game from last night, and go in rolling the way that you came out of the third period.
you got the balanced attack to some extent last night. You get goals from your first, second, and third lines. The Brock Nelson ones come on the power play, of course, but you do feel like it's a little bit more spread out. Can the Avs find some consistency in that? Is there... Look, there are some realities about the Avs' fourth line with the injuries they have that Zakar Bardakov's not going to get a ton of minutes. If Cale Makar is back in tonight, not going to get a ton of minutes. So does it have to be balanced through that top nine just to keep the Avs with legs?
It has to, especially with the way that Zakar Bardakov in the fourth line kind of performed in last game. Yes, Taylor McCarr played well with the minutes he got, but I wasn't particularly pleased with much of Bardakov's game, and especially when you're making dumb decisions the way that he did. I can't imagine there's a lot of trust from Bednar there as well. So your top nine in, just by principle has to be better. And that third line performed really, really well through at least 40 minutes last game. But I think in this one, yes, your top line produced well, but you need your top guys to do more. And looking at a Taves-Makar pairing, you're expecting them, maybe if they can't get some of that momentum rolling early, you're expecting them to be better than they were in the last game. There's a lot of, not great things to take away from for that top pairing. And in order to blaze past, or at least attempt to blaze past a Stanley Cup champion team, like your top guys have to be better.
Well, more bad news on that front. If not unsurprising, Devontae's will not play tonight after the scary incident into the boards. It is officially listed as upper body, so take that for what you will. Yeah. Either way,
okay,
not playing tonight, so it will be Solovyov to draw back in.
Which I don't know how I feel about that. He's been sitting for so long. He had that little conditioning stint with the Eagles to get him some minutes, but sitting for that long, and even tough. Looking back at the games that he did play, where I mean, it's hard to learn the system when you're not playing in game type scenarios. Like, you can only learn so much at practice, and he's been very present in those practice situations, but not being able to play, and then the minutes that we have seen him play, I don't have a whole lot of faith there, but it needs to be that next man up mentality. The Avs have been, especially where their depth is concerned, has been very, very good. And I imagine with the way they'll deploy that, I mean, shortening the bench, if it comes to that, Solovyov may not get very many minutes tonight anyway, so he needs to do well with the minutes he's given.
Yeah, look, the Avs have other options there. Like, they could absolutely go back to their well of depth in the AHL if Solovyov does not perform well. And like, it's a tough spot to be in, absolutely, like you mentioned, having not played real minutes for a while. But I think there's a very real possibility that this is Solovyov's last opportunity to really lock down a spot on the Avs NHL roster. So hopefully good things come there. We'll see how the pairings end up actually shaking out with no Taves. I'm sure it's going to be a by committee type of thing where Makar will probably play with multiple players tonight, but definitely not something you want to see. It doesn't seem like it's too serious. It seems like Taves was a game time decision. So this is not like he's going to be out long term or anything, but still the Avs decor getting worse if Taves is out of the lineup, I think is pretty easy to say.
Yeah, it has to be a type of situation, I imagine, where Solovyov's got alarm bells ringing in the back of his head. Like, if I am not showing up in a game like this, like, the fourth line has been a perfect example of just how fluid this roster situation is. So, like, Bednar is not afraid to sit there and say, like, if you're not performing, being a 7th D guy on this team is a privilege. And knowing what can happen between now and playoffs, injuries are a very real possibility. It's something that the Avs have been very, very lucky with this season. Anything can change at any given time. Just look at a Devon Taves, who did end up finishing last night's game. But if you're going to rest him, like, this is the game to do it. it just should just prove to him that this team is very, very fluid. And any other guy, especially in the Eagles system, it's yes, of course you'd love to be playing, but being the seventh guy on this roster, it's you have the opportunity to play for the best team in the league, and if you can't fit into that system, it's you can't just sit pretty on it.
You'll be out if you're not earning it every single day. So hopefully we see some good stuff there. We can get into these actual two teams when we're comparing them. You guys have seen the Avs chart a million times by now. You know there's just a ton of ones on it at this point. Looks real fun, is real good. Even the power play number went in the right direction after last game. So you can take that as a win.
1 point. One whole point.
Looking at the Panthers side of this too. Celebrating the power play, always worth doing. But the Panthers side of it, Panthers are a good team, but obviously the injuries everyone knows about that they've been dealing with this year have held them back from being an elite team so far this season, and they've really struggled in goal this year. It has not been a particularly good year for Sergei Bobrovsky. So, look, they are the defending champs. You have to take them seriously, but there is a team on the ice here that is beatable for Colorado. If it were a straight up game, if the Avs weren't playing the SEGABABA, I would have the Avs as pretty significant favorites. As it is, I do feel like it's going to be a slog, but I don't know that Florida scares me as much as they should.
No, I don't know. I go back and forth with this, just knowing the gritty team that they are. They do have some peskiness. I'd put them as far as peskiness and grit is concerned on a higher tier than Colorado would. And that's the thing that kind of scares me most. When you talk about a slog fest, this is the kind of team that I envision the Avs getting that kind of game from. Yeah. Just because of how difficult they can be to play against. They're not necessarily great on either side of the ice, but you know that they're going to get into those dirty areas and make it really, really hard for some of those 50-50 battles. And the Avs did a really good job with that, especially in the third period. But you're also, I mean, you're looking at another really aggressive team here tonight. So not letting up, making sure if you can play a clean game, keep that power play going, but also making sure that you're paying attention to the right details at 5-on-5. That's the only way you're going to sit here and beat this Florida Panthers team.
Can they keep the power play going? Is it just that easy? They have goals in 2 consecutive games. They went positive on the power play the other night, even if they did give up a shorthanded goal. Is what they're doing with Nelson maybe playing the high forward a little bit more? Is this finally the solution, or
that's what I was going to mention. Put Brock Nelson out on the ice and magical things tend to happen. So I love that they've been leaning into Nelson in the middle more. Like I love what they've been doing in that with that movement. Some of those battles being won. Him getting into the dirty areas that make it a little more confusing for not only defense, but I mean, you're screening goaltenders, you're getting into those really dirty areas that, I mean, that's what we've been looking for from this power play for the entire season, is making it so that it's not as telegraphable, that it's not as easily readable. You're making yourselves confusing. You're making the puck confusing. And Brock Nelson's been a huge part of that. So it seems like, yes, while the second unit or you know, whatever you want to call it, because I don't even know as though the Avs are running specific units anymore.
It feels pretty scrambled.
It's really, it is very, very scrambled. And so it seems like whenever Nelson is out on the ice, he just has that kind of magic touch that always seems to find him. And I'd love to see that from more of the guys, something there needs to be studied, but it seems like as long as Nelson's out on the ice, like the power plays look dangerous.
It has.
And that's what you need.
We're far enough into the season where there's no longer questions of like, oh, what do you do? It's just, it has to be better. And if the answer there is Brock Nelson is the guy who scores on the power play and that's just what you do, fine. Great. Love it. No notes.
Yeah. No, not at all. And it makes you wonder, like, Brock Nelson had a bit of a slow start to the
He
season,
did.
and he's found his 5-on-5 scoring touch, and he's been elite in that department. I look back at, Olympic conversations and wonder just how people didn't have this guy on their projections before the actual roster was announced. But that starts to build. This just seems like that next step for Brock Nelson. Like, we know he's capable of this, but where exactly has it been?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's finally finding that. And if that's, helping the team the way that it needs to, again, something there needs to be studied. There's something there that is obviously working anytime Brock Nelson is in the slot or in the center of the ice when the power play is happening. So
Sometimes 1+1 does equal 2.
sometimes it took a while to figure that out, apparently.
Wedgwood getting the second start in a row. No big surprise there either. We kind of expected this, giving Mackenzie Blackwood on IR.
Yep.
Can the Avs give him a reasonable game tonight? I think that's where I'm at with it, because when you look at the goal scored against him the other night, it's 2 literal breakaways and a power play sequence where they get hemmed in their own zone for over a minute. Can the Avs avoid those mistakes?
You hope so. Like that's obviously the expectation night in and night out. I do worry a little bit with some of that clean defensive play in front of him with a guy like Taves missing, who,
Yeah.
yeah, we're looking for that next level of offensive production that we maybe see last year. But defensively, Taves has been very, very sound. And losing him, especially against a team like Florida, where they do have a bit of speed up front, it hurts a little bit. So you expect a high tier game from a guy like Scott Wedgwood. I mean, he needs to be on it. He needs to be square. He needs to play the right game, which he showed he can do yesterday, especially after the last start they had against Carolina. This was a high step up for Wedgwood, and you want to see that continue here tonight, especially in lieu of some of that lack of defense that you're maybe missing with a guy like Taves out.
I'm assuming this is just a graphic error from the Avalanche. Their projected lineup does have Taves in it, but he was not out for warmups. So, you're what? No, I just mean the one the Avs posted.
Oh, interesting.
I'm assuming their tweet is just wrong, given that he didn't take warmups. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I'm assuming this is a don't be tricked by an incorrect tweet than a Taves is actually playing situation. So,
yeah, I guess we'll see when puck actually drops or who comes out, but I'm more inclined to say that has to be an error.
Yeah,
especially with PR coming out and saying like, "Hey, let's we're giving him a day."
Bit weird, but going to continue assuming Taves is not playing. Chat talking about it. Dallas did lose in overtime already today, so opportunity for the Avs to pick up another possible point. Not that honestly, we're getting to the point where Dallas is almost out of touch with Colorado, so I don't know how much we really need to scoreboard watch on that front anymore even, but look, every opportunity you have to grasp when you're the Colorado Avalanche right now. You need to find reasons to motivate yourself when you're at this point in the season and so far ahead of everyone else. Does the Cup championship team, does that actually motivate the Avs, you think? Or is this just a talking point?
I think it can be a little bit of both. There is something to be said, maybe more brownie points than anything.
Sure.
About sitting there saying like, "Hey, they won a cup and we were the better team to come out of it." But I mean, they hammered them the last time they saw this team in their own building. Now, granted, they've been a better home team than a road team, but still on the road have been very, very successful, riding their second double-digit point or game streak or win streak of the season. So I think there's a little bit of confidence coming into this one, knowing that they're capable of beating them the way that they did last time. Um, and then also like taking into account too, like yes, there's a cup championship behind it, but they're missing some of their top guys too.
Yep,
Um, I mean, Barkov out long term. Seth Jones, I believe, is going to be out tonight.
he is. Yeah.
You're looking at, I mean, Matthew Kachuk still has not returned, and a lot of their depth. I mean, this is a by all means depleted team, and it shows as such. They're, I believe, 17th in the league right now. So
Yep.
you come into that, yes, knowing that this is a depleted team, but I mean, they're still capable of, putting themselves into the same position to win a cup again this year. So not falling flat, but maybe holding on to that little bit of confidence, knowing that you had that much of an upper hand on them last time you saw them.
Yeah, a lot of depletion there that you should be able to take advantage of. But on the other side, Brad Marchand has seemingly found the fountain of youth. 46 points in 39 games. Are we really going into a game against the Florida Panthers where you're game planning to stop Brad Marchand? Is that really where we're at?
Unfortunately, yeah. You look at, I mean, yes, he's got some of that offensive prowess on his side too, but when you think of grit in the league, he's
Yeah,
about as, I want to avoid you as much as possible as that can get.
true.
He's a very difficult guy to play against, especially looking at size. But I mean, he brings a lot of that pestiness that helps the Panthers win games. So as long as your blue line can do whatever they can to stop a guy like Brad Marchand, I feel like your depth can kind of even itself out in the other areas and provide for you, especially with as well as the third line has been looking recently. And you've seen some of that production, especially from Jack Drury come up as of late.
Before I knew Taves was out, the question I was going to ask is the Avs defense the big difference maker for them in a game like this? That gets a lot tougher with no Devon Taves, but can the Avs still find ways to produce through their defense against a team like Florida?
You're looking for a leg up, I think, from a guy like Sam Girard,
Yep.
who has gotten in a habit of letting Sam Malinsky do a lot of the heavy lifting as part as production is concerned. Um, but if you're getting, a best game out of a Sam Malinsky, who's going to be looking to take a step forward with a Devon Taves out,
Yep.
you need a Brent Burns to find more of that offensive streak. I'd love to see Sam Girard buy in more. Um, and even if like you're getting all of that too, you need a better game from a Cale Makar
For sure.
tonight. He was I hate hammering on this, but he was really quiet in last night's game. And in order to break through some of that, like you need a sound game from him. But yes, defensively is important, but as long as you're producing more, like I don't know, like it's really difficult, I think, for me. But produce more, score more, like that's a lot easier said than done, right?
It is.
But making sure you're producing, if you can lock down defensively everywhere, like Makar's doing his job, making sure that Sam Girard, Sam Malinsky are doing what they need to do, making sure Josh Manson isn't taking those dumb penalties, and then let Makar do what he's known for doing, is pressing deep into the zone as a defenseman. Like that's, if you can find that balance, that's, I think, more important than finding a solid defensive game.
Look, when you're down 3-1 against Carolina, you needed a superstar period, and you got one out of Nathan MacKinnon. Even if you want to say it was a quiet game, he has 3 points in the third period, a 4-point night. The Avs get that step up. The reality of a SEGABABA is you probably need a superstar type of game from somebody too, and I think you nailed it. It really needs to be someone like Cale Makar tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially, like, again, especially with how quiet he was
Yep.
last night. Like I love that you're getting that middle six production. You're getting some of, like, you see a Brent Burns buy in, you see a Malinsky buy in. You really Bednar talks all the time about that superstar quality of your guys being quiet and still managing to get on the board with points. I'm really missing one of those games that Cale Makar just goes and shines
Yeah.
and gets the points.
Yeah.
Like you want to
Do it in
see that
style.
eye test. Yeah, you want to see that eye test match some of that production. And I feel like Cale Makar has been missing a couple of those in recent games.
Yep. I
So
agree.
if this is the one you see that pop off again, I'd love to see Cale Makar take that step again.
The last game I think you really felt like it popped for Cale was the Minnesota game, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see Cale step up. Let's use our eye test on the crystal ball. Bailey, give me a score. Give me a name. What's going to happen in this game?
Looking at recent Florida history, it's been either really close or a blowout.
Yeah.
I am going to go in favor of the Avalanche here, obviously, and saying, give me 5-2.
5-2. Okay.
5-2 win. And we talked about the blue line. Give me a Sam Malinsky goal.
Malinsky Magic 5-2. I do like that score. I'm going to go lower end close. I'll take the boring score. I'll take 3-2. Give me that one.
Okay, all right.
I know.
The safe option.
I know. Sometimes you got to look. I called 5-3 last game, so I'm allowed to take a safe one this time. All right.
Sure. Okay.
And I'm going to go Marty
the
Natchez.
back-to-back Magic. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I want to see Marty put one in the back of the net for realsies. A nice little
I
snipe.
was going to say, it looked like he almost had one last game,
Yeah.
and it got redistributed. So if he can get that one again tonight, I'd like to see that. I like this pick.
I'm down all the way to take it however you can get it in a SEGABABA, but yeah, they just would like to see him step up and get one clean. We also have my pre-game picks presented by Bet365, where of course things are never ordinary. You can jump in with Bet365 and use the DNVR 365 code when you do. My bets are, I don't know. I feel like at least one of them is going to hit. I picked a 3-2 score, but I did take the Avs to cover just because it's pretty good money at plus 175. The Natchez goal is plus 200. And then I said, let's do it. Get the power play doing its thing with Brock Nelson, plus 280 for a Nelson power play point. Why not keep the vibes up on that front, or at least please don't have bad power plays? Maybe I'm wish casting with that bet a little bit. Whatever you want to bet on, whether it's my bets or you can make your own, go to Bet365 and use that DNVR 365 code. Of course, when you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. Coming up here quickly on Puck Drop here, Bailey. So just kind of final thoughts on this matchup. How good is Florida really? I think we probably both agree they're better than a 17th placed team, but are they really like top 10?
I don't know about top 10, but they got the job done finishing at 11th last year.
True.
So if all it takes is squeaking into a wild card spot, and at that point it changes every other day, as we mentioned with the Eastern Conference. So yes, they are a better team than maybe what it looks like on paper. But I mean, the Avs, we talk about with back-to-backs all the time. You get the first win, you've done your job. This is just kind of insurance. So if the Avs can head in with some of the momentum they found in the third period, I'll be more than happy. I will be absolutely pleased with how this one turns out.
I will also be pleased. I honestly, even if things go poorly, I won't be disappointed. Again, you're in a tough spot in the schedule. You really, coming off of the Christmas break, yeah, you had 2 days off for New Year's, but you've been playing a lot of games, and you're going to have to continue doing so against Tampa like we talked about. So get through this one. If you win, awesome. If you lose, don't overthink it. I'll leave it at that. We'll wrap up this pregame show. We got a watch along coming your way. Micah and myself, come join us for that. And then Bailey and I will break it all down post-game no matter what happens. So we hope to see you there. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, and we'll talk to you in a few.
We all silly like the mayor.